Water performance. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the Second International Congress on World Civilizations and Historic Roots, here in Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria, one of the oldest cities in Europe. I believe it was a real great pleasure to hear the cosmic voice of Valja Balkanska, the Bulgarian bagpipe, and to touch the magic of the Bulgarian folk dances performed by Ensemble Bulgaria. This is the second time Sofia is hosting the International Congress on World Civilizations. The first one held back in 2016 was on creative tourism, and today's Congress will highlight the importance of the historic roots for cultural and tourism development. The International Congress on World Civilizations and Historic Roots is jointly organized by the Ministry of Tourism of the Republic of Bulgaria and the United Nations World Tourism Organization. My name is Niki Iliev. I'm a Bulgarian filmmaker, and it's a real honor to be your host today and tomorrow. We have a long journey in front of us. I really hope you enjoyed it. And we are also very proud to say that today at this Congress we have people from all over the world. We have representatives from 5 continents, which I believe it's a great starting point for promoting tourism and traveling. And now, let's proceed with the opening of the second International Congress of World Civilizations and Historic Roots. It's my greatest pleasure to give the stage to the Minister of Tourism of the Republic of Bulgaria, Mrs. Nikolina Angelkova.
Thank you, Nikki. Mr. Deputy Minister of the UNWTO, Mr. Vice President of Iran, distinguished colleagues, ministers coming from different parts of the world, esteemed members of parliament, mayors, district governors, Mr. Deputy Mayor of Sofia Municipality, Mr. Chair of the Parliamentary Committee on Culture and Media, my friend Mr. Rashidov, Mr. Chair of the Parliamentary Committee on Economic Policy, Mrs. Deputy Minister of Culture, Mrs. Gesheva, ladies and gentlemen, friends and guests. Please allow me, first of all, to thank our great Valya Balkanska, the bagpipers, and Bulgare ensemble for presenting a very small part of Bulgarian culture and traditions. Please allow me to welcome you warmly to the Second International Congress on World Civilizations and Historic Roots here in Bulgaria. I believe it was pleasure for you to hear the cosmic voice of Valya Balkanska, to enjoy the unique sound of Bulgarian pipe and see our folk dances. This is the second time that Bulgaria is honored to host such a forum. In 2016, the first Congress was held, and I would like to thank the World Tourism Organization for holding this forum, and the Ministry of Culture for hosting it. Thank you very much for being here in Sofia. The agenda is very rich. It will allow us see how world civilizations could be brought to life. The Congress will see how new social economic dimensions can be developed at local and regional level, and at the same time safeguarding tangible and intangible heritage. At the summit meeting, we'll consider the role of governments at preserving cultural heritage and promoting historical roots, which require strong transnational cooperation. We'll examine ways of promoting tourism in order to meet the Sustainable Development Goals. We'll place focus on key initiatives like the European Year of Heritage, of Cultural Heritage, and also culture and heritage as universal value to us. Throughout the millennia, civilizations flourished and deteriorated, but their heritage has an unforgettable imprint on the history of mankind. This heritage shows the highest of achievements of humans. It is full of monuments, traces, literature, stories, movies, etc. Cultural heritage tells the story of mankind. It tells us our common story. Therefore, we have to preserve it and hand it down to future generations. We can start international dialogue on what unites us and perceive culture not as something static, but rather as a dynamic system of values, which is constantly developing. The more people travel, the more they get to know different cultures, making new friends, and help contribute to a new order of tolerance and international cooperation. We'll examine how economic growth and social development can be the result of the link between tourism and cultural heritage. In the past decades, tourism has a 10.4% share of GDP, providing employment to over 300 million people all over the world. In our country, we have almost 13% share of tourism, share of GDP, and we persistently work towards having our country as a four-season destination. We have a rich wealth of thermal springs, golf courses, etc. We are the heirs of ancient civilizations, Proto-Bulgarians, Thracians, etc. They have left many testaments of excellent historical achievements. Bulgaria is a country of a huge number of historical monuments, an attractive destination for lovers of tourism. Of course, we have to work a lot in order to further develop our potential. We use the recent Bulgarian presidency of the Council of the European Union in order to promote initiatives. For example, a map of the 100 tourist sites and a common Balkan tourist product. We have to use our common potential, and we wanted to introduce a common approach to integrate in Black Sea and Danube region. We asserted innovations, an interactive web-based platform developed by the Ministry of Culture. This is called I Love Bulgaria, providing information about historic Bulgarian sites and landmarks. In 2017, we launched the first investment map of tourist sites. This led to record high achievements for Bulgaria. The total number of tourist visits in 2017 reached 8 million and 800,000 visitors, which marked considerable growth. According to the recent data, there is a 31% growth of tourists compared to 2015, and Bulgaria became an attractive all-year-round tourist destination. Ladies and gentlemen, guests and friends, tourism is experiencing. It connects people and cultures in the most unforgettable way. As Burton Holmes, an American traveler, said, traveling means possessing the world. And I can only tell you, distinguished guests, traveling starts with a small step, with however, with eyes wide open. Please enjoy your wonderful stay in Sofia, in our wonderful country, Bulgaria. Thank you very much for showing your respect and being part of our event. The best of luck to this Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister Georgieva, for your opening speech, for your great work for Bulgaria. And now, without further ado, I would like to give the stage to Mr. Jaime Cabal San Clemente, United Nations World Tourism Organization Deputy Secretary General. Mr. Cabal, the stage is yours.
Good morning. Dear Ms. Nikolina Angelkova, Minister of Tourism of Bulgaria, dear Vice President of Islamic Republic of Iran, it's a pleasure to meet you again, Vice President, once again in this week. Dear Dr. Kon, Minister of Tourism, Kingdom of Cambodia, dear Mr. Rasinov, dear Mr. Kanev, dear Excellencies, Deputy Ministers, Ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Secretary General, Sura Polikashvili, allow me to firstly convey his most sincere apologies for not being able to be among you today. Although he would have loved to join us, unforeseen circumstances have obligated to cancel his trip. Dear participants, I am pleased to welcome you to the Second International Congress on World Civilization and Historic Roots in this beautiful city of Sofia. First of all, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to Her Excellency, Ms. Nikolina Angelkova, Minister of Tourism of Bulgaria, and her team for their remarkable work and outstanding support, demonstrate throughout the organization of this event a clear reflection of long-lasting relationship existing between our organizations. For the World Tourist Organization, it's a real pleasure to join once again efforts with the Ministry of Tourism in celebrating the importance of cultural heritage and promoting the development of responsible cultural tourism worldwide. This year's edition is of particular relevance as we are about to mark the end of the European Year of Cultural Heritage, a year in which we have been encouraged to discover the richness of the cultural heritage and reflect upon the role each and every one of us must play in preserving its legacy. Cultural heritage shapes identities, our landscapes, and our everyday life. It can be found in urban and rural areas we live in and the natural environment that surrounds us. However, cultural heritage is also about literature, arts, craft, the traditions passed on to us by our ancestors, the stories we tell to our children, and the films we watch. Within this concept, historic roots have shaped the imagination of countless generations, contributing to the creation of the greatest novels, paintings, and movies throughout the centuries. Iconic roads such as the Silk Road, the Way of St. James, the Orient Express, or Route 66, to name only a few, have inspired the most fascinating adventurers, travelers, an expedition of many travelers in all 5 regions of the globe. Within this in mind, there is no doubt in saying that such routes can play a major role in revitalizing the unique historic, cultural, and natural assets of territories along them, becoming a powerful promotional tool and unique instrument to increase tourist competitiveness for many destinations. It will develop tourists along the historic routes can also significantly contribute to foster the creation of socioeconomic benefits for local communities, build a sense of pride and ownership, and contribute to safeguard the authenticity of a destination. In short, they can become a powerful ally in advancing the contribution of tourism to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its Sustainable Development Goals. As tourist professionals, it is our shared responsibility to ensure that tourists along and across this planet developed and managed in the adequate way, bringing equal benefits to all actors along the value chain. It is our responsibility to ensure that no one is left behind. To fulfill this, a joint effort is needed to foster the exchange of expertise and good practices that can inspire key stakeholders to engage in concrete actions towards a sustainable development of tourists of iconic routes. Such will be the objective of the discussions during the next 2 days, which promise to be particularly enriching and stimulating, given to high level of speakers we have the chance to host in this edition. Thank you also to all speakers and participants. There is no doubt in saying that you are the ones who will significantly contribute to enrich the outcomes of this Congress. Before finishing these welcoming remarks, I would like to take the opportunity to highlight the new priorities of the UNWTO. As many of you already know, the organization has taken a new direction under the leadership of our new Secretary General, Sura Polilikashvili, who assumed his new role in January this year, and myself, who joined the organization 4 months ago. When defining our new priorities, our main objective was to duly take into account the challenges and constantly changing necessities of our sector, both present and future, to bring added value to all our UNWTO member states, affiliate members, and tourist stakeholders in general. Culture and sustainability fall precisely under one of these priorities, which are innovation and digital transformation, investment and entrepreneurship, education and employment, safe, secure, and seamless travel, social, cultural, and environmental sustainability. Going back to the UNWTO affiliate members, I mentioned earlier, we have just finished a 2 days ago celebration of 40 plenary session of the affiliate members, which was held in Hamadan, Iran, at the kind invitation of the government of Iran and under leadership of the vice president, who we have the opportunity to have among us today. Many of you must already know this, but for those who don't, UNWTO is the only United Nations agency that is open for membership to non-governmental tourist entities, including private sector, universities, and destination management entities, whose total number are now over 540. As I thought, that is might be of interest to many of you present here today. I take this opportunity to invite all non-governmental entities present here to join to the UNWTO. Finally, I wish this Congress every success, and I trust that it will mark an important step in harnessing the potential of historic roots in both safeguarding cultural heritage and helps advance sustainable development of tourism. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cabal. And now I would like to invite Mr. Vejdi Rashidov, Chairperson of the Community of Culture and Media at the National Assembly and a great artist. Mr. Rashidov, the stage is yours.
Mrs. Minister Angelkova, let me first congratulate you on what you are doing and also for hosting this very important and beneficial forum. Mr. President, Your Excellencies, ministers, deputy ministers, Mrs. Gesheva, Deputy Minister of Culture, Deputy Mayor of Sofia Municipality, Mr. Chobanov, who also has considerable contribution to the topic which unites us today. I want to add a few words because I used to be Minister of Culture for 7-8 years, and I worked persistently on this topic together with Mrs. Angelkova. I like very much the title, the name of today's Congress, World Civilizations, Historical Roots. These are two concepts which are intertwined. They cannot exist independently of each other. I remember a talk I had with a friend of mine who used to build up hotels at the seaside. And I told him, you're not building up hotels for tourism, you are building up accommodation places. Tourism is something quite different. So I will allow myself saying to you that we are both good, but we also don't know each other very well. We used to live in a system which was a bit isolated, which was encapsulated, and the world still doesn't know us very well. We are new to the world, and the world has to know us. So for 10 or 15 years, we have been conducting active policy to show to the world an ancient country which is 1,300 years old. Why am I saying this? We have neighboring countries like Greece with extraordinary cultures, mature cultures, ancient cultures. We also have the Roman culture, another civilization which is complete in itself. Bulgaria is a small country which is happy because it has both Byzantine culture, Roman culture, Thracian culture, Islamic culture, Some of these cultures are yet to be discovered by the rest of the world. We have one of the largest archives of Islamic documents, cultural documents. When I say that we are still unknown by the world and the world is still familiarizing with us and Europe in particular, I have to say that we exhibited over 2,000 pieces of art in the Louvre. Not many countries can take pride in similar initiative. This was the result of active work with also with the support of French ambassadors. And now in the Louvre there is a second Bulgarian exhibition called the Preslav Treasure. Probably only a few of you among you know this. This is something which the world can see only now. I remember the words of President Martinez, the president of Louvre. He exclaimed, why aren't we aware of the existence of this culture? So we worked actively together with Mrs. Angelkova to show our culture to the rest of the world. You are only a few hundred meters away from a unique site called the Largo. This is the whole complex called Serdica, which hides iconic history. This used to be the town of the Constantine the Great, the emperor. So I will end by saying that this is a truly important forum, and we all have to be aware that the business card of any tourist country in the world should be clearly visible. Let's take a French destination. You can see what France can offer you within 7 days. The Opera, the Louvre, the Eiffel Tower, the Lafayette Gallery, then take Rome, for example. So Bulgaria, I'm trying to say that Bulgaria has its own well-deserved place within the world culture. And I congratulate the ministry on working towards this. When I used to be a minister, I had this vicious idea. I held talks with my counterparts in Greece and Turkey, the ministers of culture. The Balkans are a unique place, still undiscovered, with a signature culture. So why not try, instead of stealing tourists from each other, to come up with a Balkan tourist triangle? Athens, Sofia, Istanbul. This was a truly interesting idea if we want to have our Balkans as unique tourist destination. I'm not a Minister of Culture any longer, but I hope that Minister Angelkova will continue in the same direction. We worked a lot on different tourist rays, similar to Chinese experiences. Let me tell you that both Serbia and Turkey, for example, are unique tourist countries, and all other Balkan countries for that matters. I will soon go to France, and I will offer St. Sofia Church in Istanbul to be included on the World Heritage list of UNESCO. This is a jewel in the crown, right in the heart of the Balkans. So, dear friends, use this opportunity, use this Congress to get to know each other and discuss the fact that tourism is a common future. It will make our societies richer. It will make our societies better. I hope that Bulgaria will persevere in this direction. It has an action plan with regard to our landmark, monuments, etc. I will always say that the Valley of Thracian Kings in Bulgaria is a dignified rival of the valley, of the counterpart valley in Egypt. I hope that we'll be able to uncover all 60 tombs in Kazanluk so that we have this unique experience to offer. I wish you the best of luck.
Your honest and important speech. Now I would like to invite here on stage Mr. Petr Kanev, Chairperson of the Committee on Economic Policy and Tourism at the National Assembly.
Dear Mrs. Minister, dear Vice President, dear Ministers, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I will be quite brief. All the more that we have a meeting at the Parliament right now and we have to go back and participate. It is a great honor and pleasure of mine in my capacity as a chairperson of the Committee on Economic Policy and Tourism at the National Assembly. We have had a debate for a long while to have a separate Ministry of Tourism in Bulgaria or not. And I do think that what happened 4 years ago was quite purposeful and quite good. We created an institution that is responsible for more than 12% of GDP. All these years it has been led by Mrs. Angelkova. I would like to wish Mrs. Angelkova and her team a successful operation in the future and successful 4-year seasons of tourism in Bulgaria. And the Parliamentary Assembly of the Black Sea Cooperation has many statistical information about that. We will overtake next year the presidency of this organization, and for the Black Sea region, tourism is very important. This is a kind of a region with a large area, and the GDP is contributing to $3 million. We have more than 12% of participants. 19% of all tourist destinations are related to visits in our region. I will stop with that because there will be very interesting presentations involving all these statistical figures, and I would like to wish you, as I have already said, fruitful work and nice winter holidays.
And now I would like to invite you all to something very interesting, to take a group photo here on stage. I mean, all of you, to come up on stage and to take a group photo, which will be a great memory for you, and it will stay forever, only if you want, of course. So some of you can stand on stage. The rest can be just in front of the stage, so everybody can be seen. Please come. Thank you. Yeah, this is for a photo. Here, can you please come up stage. Some of you, the rest in front of the stage. There is still room, guys. You can join us if you want. Thank you. Hello again. Thank you so much for your patience. I think we're ready to continue. Please take your seats back. Now we're going to continue with the first panel today, the panel for the high-level meeting. And I would like to invite all the high-level meeting panelists here on stage. The first one is Mrs. Nikolina Angelkova, Minister of Tourism of Bulgaria. Then we'll proceed with Mr. Ali Asghar Munesan, Vice President of the Islamic Republic of Iran and Head of Cultural Heritage, Handicrafts and Tourism Organization, Iran. Dr. Tang Khan, Minister of Tourism, Kingdom of Cambodia. Is Mr. Tang Khan here? Dr. Tang Khan, maybe he'll join us later, okay? We'll continue. Mr. Yomer Arasoy, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Culture and Tourism, Turkey. Mr. George Tsialas, Secretary General for Tourism Policy and Development, Greece. Ms. Saida Moigan Mostafavi, Deputy Minister of Administration, Finance and Tourism Affairs, Afghanistan. I would just like to call the name again for Mr. George Tsialas, Greece. Oh, he's there? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I missed you. I'm very sorry. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to continue with Ambassador Michael Christidis, Secretary General, Organization of Black Sea Economic Cooperation. Mr. Haitham Matar, CEO of Ras Al Khaimah, region of UAE. Okay, and now I'm going to introduce the moderator of this panel, high-level meeting panel, Ms. Sofia Mavranta. She's a journalist with 12 years experience in writing and conducting interviews on a variety of topics. She has been working for CNN Greece since 2015. writing articles on finance, tourism, and investment. When she's not writing, Sofia enjoys spending time reading and traveling. Sofia, please join us. Thank you. Stage is yours. Yeah, and I'm very sorry to invite Deputy Secretary General Jaime Cabal on stage. Again, very sorry, thank you. Ms. Pavranca, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Dear Minister of Tourism of Bulgaria, dear Deputy Secretary General, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to the high-level meeting, a lively debate on the vision and importance of world civilization and historic roots. As you already know, the topic of this panel is to explore the role of governments and regional policies in the development of historic routes. During this meeting, the participants will have the opportunity to provide us with a preview of their forthcoming strategy on historic routes. We will discuss ways to fully harness the potential that cultural heritage offers for the development of tourism while ensuring it contributes to the advancement of the Sustainable Development Goals. If any of you would like to participate to this lively debate, you are more than welcome to ask your questions at the end of our discussion. So, let's begin. I would like to ask Mr. Jaime Cabal. Transnational cooperation is crucial in the development of historic routes, in particular in the case of routes that are spread over various countries. What role international organizations like UNWTO play in fostering it?
Thank you very much, Ms. Sofia, for this important question. Well, the international organizations such as UNWTO can play very, very important role in fostering the international and transnational cooperation. They provide the platform to facilitate the collaboration between states as well as the private sector and, in general, the stakeholders. One great example of this collaboration at this platform is, for example, the Silk Road that where the UNWTO has been playing very important role. Under UNWTO umbrellas, we can join in this moment 34 countries that are in the same way with its objectives and programs and in the promotion of the Silk Road in this moment. I would like to take the opportunity to say that, for example, Malaysia was the last country that joined to this initiative, and of course, Bulgaria has been participating since 2015. There are another many examples. In this moment, for example, the Way of St. James is taking a great opportunity to join different efforts in different international organizations that wants to promote, but also to conserve the tradition of the Way of St. James through the many years ago.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Nikolina Angelkova, how important is for your country's strategy to create signature cultural tourism experiences along world civilizations and historic routes?
Thank you, Sofia, for this question. Cultural and historic
Thank you, Sofia, for your question.
crucial for reaching our main goal, and precisely sustainable development of our tourism and converting Bulgaria into 4 years tourism destination. Bulgaria, as I shared at the beginning, is the home of a lot of Asian civilizations. A lot of civilization has crossed our road. And considering that in mind, and the fact that we have more than 40,000 artifacts movable discovered on our land, and we are very rich in terms of cultural, historical heritage, we decided in the ministry to put the impetus and the focus on the development of and creating a so-called cultural and historical destination that are spanning our territory, and trying to market all the landmarks of our cultural legacy and to promote them to the world, to be able to attract more attention and more tourists. Having said that in mind, and considering the very good experience and project, the Silk Road, One Belt, One Road, and China initiated, I was thinking that also will be a good idea to start debating maybe an idea that I would like to share exactly in light with the cultural and historical heritage. The UNWTO to be the promoter and the motor of a project that would be focused on the Asian civilizations. I think that the Asian civilizations are the one that can really show the past, create the legend, create expectations for the future, and above all, learn the young generation how to continue with the aims, the goals, to make each and every region a better place, a place that is attracting more and more visitors, that is creating more and more well-being for the local people, creating an added value to their daily life, and above all is a platform for cooperation, friendship, peace, and development. And I think this is something that I will be very happy to discuss in each and every participant in the Congress, and why not to consider our initiative at the level of the World Tourism Organization. And here, muchas gracias de nuevo, Jaime, por tu apoyo en todo. And we'll be really happy to continue on, as I said, discussing that idea. And before ending, once again, I would like to thank the ambassadors of other countries that are here in Bulgaria, because I think that every ambassador in particular that is in the country, and every person that is coming here then becomes an ambassador of our country here in Bulgaria, presenting what they have seen, what they have experienced, and inviting more and more friends and colleagues to visit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Michael Christidis, what do you expect from the cooperation among the Black Sea countries, and how these expectations relate with the world civilization and historic roots? What is Black Sea's economic cooperation vision on that?
Thank you. Let me first thank the organizers, and especially Minister Angelkova, for the kind invitation. I participate for the second time in this very important event, which I hope will become a tradition in the region. We really need it. 2 words on the organization that I have the honor to represent. It is perhaps the most mature, oldest, surely, organization promoting cooperation among its 12 member states in the wider region of the Black Sea. We do not only expect something from our cooperation in tourism, we do a lot for promoting the collective touristic picture of our region. And of course, in this effort, cooperation and, let me say, coordination with culture has a lot to do. Why? Because in this region, many world civilizations have been established and flourished. Our cultural heritage goes back to mythology, and goes on with history. We value this heritage a lot. We try to preserve and present it, although we don't always do very much about that. But this is what we try in the BISEC organization. You know, we have this very difficult task, impossible, I would say, to transform the lofty words about tourism and civilization that you hear from ministers into real tangible results. And this is sometimes an impossible task because of two factors: money is missing, or the enthusiasm shown by the ministers does not always trickle down to my level, the bureaucratic level. So we do a lot, and we will be doing even more, thanks also to our very comprehensive cooperation with the WTO. I want to thank the Deputy Secretary General for that, because let us admit it, in our world of today, which is in complete disarray, the role of tourism and culture takes up a very special role because it brings people together. We understand each other better, perhaps sometimes better than our leaders do among themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask from Mr. Ali Asghar Munessan to come to the podium. Would you like to speak from the podium? Here? Okay. Would you like to tell me, what do you believe that cultural heritage with a special focus on world civilization and historic roots can offer enhancement to the attractiveness of destinations?
خب در ابتدا منم تشکر میکنم از وزیر گردشگری بلغارستان بابت این کنگره بسیار خوب. خب میراث فرهنگی به دو بخش میراث ملموس و ناملموس تقسیم میشه. ما در میراث فرهنگی علاوه بر داشته‌های تاریخی بخشی به نام میراث ناملموس داریم که روابط تاریخی و آداب رسوم ملت‌ها رو
Excuse me, so we don't have translation.
Да, имаме.
For Mr. Munessan.
Да. In the beginning, I express my gratitude to the Minister of Tourism of Bulgaria, also to the Secretary General of the World Tourism Organization. We have two parts of the whole activity. They touch upon each other. We have different buildings, remnants, leftovers from other ancient civilizations, but also we have the second part, the traditions that holds the nations together. The Silk Road was very important. This was a road connecting people living on different territories, and they have satisfied both their economic and social needs using the so-called Silk Road. The stops on the road were places of exchange of experience. And this helped the different people living on the different territories to become more familiarized with each other, to help establishing peaceful relations among them. I do think that tourism plays an enormous role. It can lead to transfer of elements of culture from one nation to another, from one country to another.
Background on tourism. So could you please identify the main challenges and factors of success in the development of a historic route?
Hello? Yeah, thank you, Sofia, and please allow me to speak in my own language, and my translator will translate. So, I wish to thank I wish to thank the government of Bulgaria who has hosted the second international congress. Cambodia is a country, culture and nature, and the government decided tourism as the green goal. We have many historical sites that have been listed by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. That is well-renowned in 1992. That listed in 1992, and Previhir Temple listed in 2007, 2008, and 2017 we have listed another Previhir Temple. And we excluded the intangible heritage, and then the royal dance and the others that we do not mention about we discuss about the development in this area with the environmentally sustainable and socially responsible. This heretical site, in a distance over 200 kilometers from each side to others. So then the government established to have the specialized authority and the Royal Government of Cambodia, and under collaboration with the UNESCO or an international UNWTO and international organization to we have the International Coordinating Committee for Safeguarding and Developing the Historical Site of Angkor. And France and Japan is the co-chair of this ICC. And the another ICC Previhir as India and China is the co-chairs. And also Samoprekuk, that under the ICC Angkor. But we concentrating on these each side that we have zone protection. Zone 1 and Zone 2 and Zone 3. Zone 1 and 2, that if we comply with the ICC and international law, international convention, then in the northern Zone 3 is in the national law. In addition, we know that become the World Heritage Site, that is to build on the national prestige, and And then that become to a destination of the culture and to attract more tourists, and also that in competition for the Cambodia Kingdom of Cambodia. And also we have challenged some that about the growth. When there's growth, there's challenge. In order to manage this development and the growth, we need to have specific plan, a master plan of each side, and then we need to develop circuit specifically at each side. Even Siem Reap, access to as anchor site, we need master plan as a concrete operational plan. And are not at the zone 3 that the building should not be exceed 12 meters. And then we need to have a lot of governance frameworks to put in place in order to develop. Like example, we need to develop extra at the urban suburb that the SIP community-based tourism, and in order to contribute to the poverty reduction. And in order to, the government has established interministerial committee as the for tourism as the chair of this interministerial committee in order to ensure the sustainability of tourism development. We can conclude that. We have a close cooperation with UNESCO, UNWTO, and other international organizations and stakeholders. We can ensure that we can comply with the international principle that development for conservation for development and development sustain conservation. So then also to help the poor people, also the cultural heritage tourism, and then we need to develop also regulation and legal frameworks to ensure, and also that cultural tourism. I would like to inform you that 2015 February. The Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Culture and Fine Arts, in close cooperation with UNWTO and UNESCO, to that World Conference on Tourism and Culture, building a new partnership that in the anchor. We issue forth a Siem Reap declaration, and in the building of the new partnership. About the heritage network, cultural heritage network that we plan to do from heretical side, from one to others, we will propose to have UNWTO, UNESCO, and other international organizations to develop the heritage network in a decent way. And then also that we have alliance, that also harbors, soft infrastructure and hard infrastructure development, and a guide in order to support these destination. By all, that we decide about the new destination and also the community-based tourism, and also to contribute to the poverty reduction. I believe that cultural heritage has stimulated the growth of tourism. We need to have to control, manage in a sustainable manner and social responsible manner. Last year we received over 5.6 million, and this over 13% contribute to the GDP. And then And 2020 we will receive 7 million, and 2030 will be 15 million. So I take this opportunity to invite you all visit Cambodia, and that people smiling, outgoing, and also for the support of the community-based tourism. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very detailed answer. Thank you.
ជាកិច្ចជាចម្លើយមួយដ៏លម្អិតពិស្ដាយ៉ាងមែនទែនយ៉ាឡាបាទ
Do you believe that there are innovative ways to enhance the visitors' experience along the route through the use of new technologies?
Yes, there are.
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, it's not my answer. Thank you very much for the, Sofia, thank you very much. You did a great job, a great moderation in Thessaloniki for the Silk Road. And today you are doing very well. Thank you, Minister, for inviting me here. It's an honor, it's a pleasure. Also the organizers, the UNWTO. It's an honor, it's a pleasure for myself, for the ministry, and for Greece, because we're bringing Greece and the tourism of Greece in all the events and all throughout the world, globally, and we promote exactly what you said, Minister, that we would like to create better places to live for our people in our countries, but also at the same time better places for the visitors to visit and have these excellent hospitality and being together with each other, learning from each other, learning from the culture and history and all the things that each nation has to offer to the people of the nation and to the visitors also. For us in Greece, it's a miracle. Tourism, it's a miracle. Everybody says it's a miracle. That we from the ministry know that it's due to the hard work, it's due to the efforts of all the team in the ministry that we did for the last 4 years. And actually, we had very good collaboration also with neighboring countries, such as Bulgaria. We have more than 1.3 million exchanging visitors every year, which is actually, it's something that encourages our hospitality and your hospitality, bringing people together. And for us is the strategy, the hard work that we made. We extended the tourist season throughout the year, as you do very well here in Bulgaria. We opened new markets, we promoted new thematic forms of tourism, we promoted and upgrade the quality of the infrastructure, new investments, potential investments in Greece, synergies with other sectors. And to come to your question, tourism has grown rapidly, 30% the last 4 years in Greece, in terms of revenues, in terms of receipts, of income. And this has happened because of the collaboration with the private sector, because of the good work of the ministry, because of the offering the authentic hospitality and memories and experiences that we have in Greece, but also it's because of new technology. It's we can understand that everybody now has the technology in the hand. I mean, we're talking about artificial intelligence and Internet of Things and big data and things that improve our lives, but also it's a big tool, it's very, very, very effective tool for promoting tourism business. And it's, I was recently in a conference, economist conference, and the title was Digital Metamorphosis in Tourism. And yes, it's a metamorphosis. It's a transformation in all the services, in all the people that they are engaged, in the private sector, in social media, in everything. You can even book your menu in a restaurant from your couch at home, with Alexa at home, as we discussed yesterday.
Yes,
and
I love Alexa.
Yes, I know we discussed yesterday. So you can do everything from a screen, from your smartphone. You can even have your menu, a gluten-free menu at the top restaurant in Sofia for the 2nd of December at 8 o'clock at night, which is incredible. It's incredible what new technology can offer in tourism, and new technology which is very much important and essential, especially for all these cultural and historic routes and museums and all the cultural aspects of tourism, because you can have a virtual museum. You can have a virtual museum with an educational program with it. You can have promotion. You can have a 3D exhibition everywhere around the world. But at the same time, let me just, before I conclude, put a kind of, we have some, maybe we should put some limitations. Is it good that you are you willing to pay, let's say, 3,000 euro to travel from Athens to Paris to see Tour Eiffel or the Louvre? Or pay 200 only and stay at your home, and through a virtual reality you can have everything? This is a question. We don't need to have technology invade tourism in such a way, because we need to experience authentic experiences. We need to be with other people. We need to live the experience, to live the museum, to live the culture, to live the history, to live gastronomy, to live everything.
Yes, but it's not very easy for everyone to spend 3,000.
Yes, it's not easy, but we don't want technology to substitute the experience. And just to tell you a short, it's like an anecdote. It's an investor, a French investor that builds the hotels, chain of hotels. He was telling us that we are trying to make it easy. If you go to a room, you can switch on the light and it's okay. I was in Brussels sometime, and there was a very modern hotel there. It took me 3 days to, because they had a lot of buttons, a lot of technology, like, I don't know if it was Alexa or saying, a lot of buttons to turn on the lights, the heating and everything. I was trying for 3 days to find the button to shut down the blinds. So I slept the 3 days with the blinds up, with the light inside. So we need, by saying this, we need to have technology efficient and intelligent, but at the same time simple to accommodate the needs of the people, the needs of the tourists, and actually to have it as a means, as a tool to develop things in tourism, and not to substitute the experiences and substitute what we feel and what we think and what we want to live as people together.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Arisoi, welcome. Could you please tell us what role can historic routes play in today's interconnected world? And what are the challenges and benefits of belonging to the historic routes?
Teşekkür ederim Sayın Navrastas. Ben de bu güzel toplantı vesilesiyle burada olmaktan dolayı memnun oldum. Ev sahipliği için Bulgaristan Turizm Bakanı'na böyle bir organizasyonu gerçekleştirdikleri için teşekkür ediyorum. Tarihi rotalar tabii çok önemli. Bütün tercüman yok.
Чувам ви.
Okay,
Geldi mi tercüme? Orada var. Tamam. Tekrar alayım. Çok teşekkür
Момента
ederim
чувам
böyle bir
на турски.
organizasyonu gerçekleştirdikleri için Bulgaristan Turizm Bakanı'na.
Как да чуя превода на български? Кажете ми.
Ето тук.
As I said, the previous speakers, ministers, as they said, they gave us information about their countries. So let me share a few things about Turkey too. As you know, Göbekli Tepe, which is located in Turkey, is one of the monuments on the UNESCO list. They are total 18 monuments in Turkey. This is the cradle of many civilizations, as you know. Civilizations, actually, the origin of the mankind starts in the Anadolu. We expect 40 million tourists, and we try to make our season all year round using our heritage. So we aim at having 365 days of tourist season, and that the whole territory of our country is covered. I have two specific proposals in this regard. First, development of an action plan. After this second conference, this action plan could be developed at expert level. And secondly, in order to have these routes functioning well, I think that the interconnectivity among the countries should be increased. Transport should be facilitated. This is very important. The UNWTO is monitoring this process, and it offers package tours. But we also try to promote individual trips, and infrastructure should be available to facilitate this. We mentioned digital tools. This should be promoted too. I would like to thank the World Tourism Organization and the Bulgarian Ministry of Culture. Please accept my high appreciation.
Mrs. Sayenda Mosgar Mustafavi, welcome. Could you please tell us how will your country take advantage from historic routes? And what are your tourism priorities?
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, you all. It is an immense pleasure for me to be attend in the second International Congress on World Civilization and Historical Route in beautiful city of Sofia. And I extend my sincere appreciation for the invitation to this program and warm hospitality of Bulgarian government, especially Ministry of Tourism. In the course of history, it has been proud that civilization have witnessed growth and eye-catching change which have not been taken place by themselves, but there were people who developed their life and have provided the ground for the unification of humanity in a successful path. Dear colleagues, as it has known to everyone, Afghanistan has also been the platform for different civilizations in the course of history, which Aryai civilization could be one of their examples. And we have thousands and thousands historical and cultural heritage of ancient civilization in our country. The main point is the 5,000 years of history by Afghanistan, which specify Afghanistan's special place among the civilization and countries. And we have big part of Silk Road in the past. Human has played key role in the growth of civilization through traveling to different countries, which is now being called tourism. Tourism play key role in introduction of countries, cultures, touristic attraction, civilization, and have also crucial role of the transferring cultures. After decades of war and violence, Afghanistan has got eye-catching achievement in tourism affairs which are follows. Launching of tourism policy for the first time and hotel management regulation and tourism law in the country. Designing of Afghan tourism brand for the first time this year, and formulation of tourism committee, development committee, monitoring procedure of 1,300 touristic company, establishment of tourism institute for the first time. We had bachelor degree, but institute is for new generation. Database of tourism in the country, determining of three main indicator of tourism and Afghan sustainable development goals, mapping all the historical place by the help of France government and DOFA company of France, and signing MOU with different neighbor countries and countries in the region like India, Islamic Republic of Iran, Islamic Republic of Iraq, Tajikistan, Egypt, and so many other countries for developing of tourism in our country. And we have a lots of awareness through a film, brochure, catalogs for tourism issue in our country. And for the first time, you see a woman in tourism position in our country. This is also, in my opinion, in a country like Afghanistan, a big achievement. And the first time, 6 months before we have the first female Minister of Information and Culture in our country, I think it is also a big change for us. Thank you so much. And we plan to establish tourism high-level committee in minister level in the cabinet. And we have also supporting we are trying to get the support of the government for the establishment of a separate ministry for tourism in our country, because we have thousand historical place and touristic place, but information and culture is a big ministry. If we have a separate ministry for tourism, it can be much more effective. And if we can solve the security problem, a big part of national budget will be covered by this sector. Unfortunately, because of war and so many problems in our country, now our role is very less in GDP, and it is just 1% of all GDP in the country. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Mr. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Under your leadership, Ras Al Khaimah is achieving continued growth in visitor numbers and meeting a growing share of the global outbound tourism market. Would you like to share with us the success story? Is it connected to the historic roots? Can other countries follow it as an example to succeed?
Great, thank you very much. There's three components or three questions to answer, and I hope to address them all. But if I take the Silk Route as the first start, since this is the topic of our Congress today, Ras Al Khaimah is fortunate to be part of the Silk Route, and is believed that in the 7th century, Ras Al Khaimah is actually one of the pearling villages in the Gulf. In the 19th century, for example, the GDP for Ras Al Khaimah from pearling alone was 1.5 sterling pounds, and you must understand this is a lot of money for a small tribe. But it's also believed that pearls were in high demand in China in the 7th century, and it's also believed that about 100,000 Muslims were living in Canton in the 7th century as well. So as part of that Silk Road, and as part of the Silk Route, also it was an Arab navigator called bin Majid who also helped ships find their way to Europe through the Gulf. And this is also testament to the fact that Ras Al Khaimah enjoys history of about 7,000 years. So a number of civilizations have made their way into Ras Al Khaimah, which was called Julfar in the past. In 2016, we launched a strategy for the first time. We are a young destination. We're up and coming, fairly or relatively unknown when compared to some of the more mature destinations. For example, I sit among this panel. However, of course, destinations are in the business of competition. And today, we have to always find value for travelers who are going to spend their hard-earned money, but also their time to visit destinations, and we've got to give them the reason why. And as we know from research and studies, and everybody on this panel has a great knowledge about the fact that research really identifies that people are now looking for experiences. And experiences today is not necessarily visiting the Eiffel Tower or the monuments. It really has evolved from that. It really has become more about connecting with people, learning the culture of the country they visit and the heritage and the history of that country. So the experiences that they want to take away today is enjoying the food, the local foods. And we see today more of the millennials, the backpackers, who travel around the world, not necessarily looking for luxury in a product. So it's not about the five-star hotel or the luxurious lobby they get into, but it's more the luxury experiences they take home. So have they had an opportunity to have lunch with the locals? As I know from, for example, my humble experience in Greece, you have some Greeks who open their homes, and you can have traditional home-cooked food in some of the homes in Greece or even some of the restaurants. And that's what people want to look for when they travel today. I think we have in our strategy and some of the experiences that I would like to share, taken away the fact that the misconception of that Ras Al Khaimah was a destination that is only known for great beaches and great resorts, which is true. And that's where, the recent study we did, the #1 motivator for travel in most countries is beach, sun, and sand. And some countries are not beach goers, but the #2 motivator was always people who were looking to connect with culture, history, and seek knowledge about the people that they visit. So a country like the UAE and a small emirate like Ras Al Khaimah, who has an abundance of culture, a lot of history, we had to expose that, and we had to shed the light on these beautiful cultural habits and traditions and arts and religion to share with the people who want to visit Ras Al Khaimah. And in 2013, Ras Al Khaimah had received about 400,000 visitors. And by 2018, the end of this year, we will have 1,100,000 visitors. So there's a big jump of doubling the number of tourists with people who are coming to explore the history, the culture, and heritage of our country. But also, we've combined that with nature-based adventure activities. As we talked about, people today can hike in the mountains of Ras Al Khaimah and go through villages where people still live in stone houses until today. And the only modern thing you're going to see in this house is probably a plastic water tank on top of a stone house. They're humble people that are going to, receive you to have a tea or some of their bread. And, they're not looking for money. They don't want any of that. They just want to share, their culture with the tourists. And this is what has enabled us in our strategy to be successful, because we've shared it with the community. We've shared it with the people of Ras Al Khaimah, and we brought them on board so they accept that we are opening their country for people from different backgrounds to come and experience and enjoy the culture and authenticity of Ras Al Khaimah.
So the secret is the experience?
The secret is, #1, strategy. I think every destination without a strategy is a recipe for disaster. I think, you must have a strategy, and the strategy needs to spell out the key assets of the destination, but it also needs to be backed up by study of what are the trends today. What are people looking for? The trends are evolving. People are, of course, looking for technology, but I think, the check-in into your hotel with the iPhone is now in the past. I think people are now looking for more, experiences they can touch, feel, and take home with them and tell their friends and loved ones and family about.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. Angelkova, how tourism development is changing preservation of local communities' culture and traditions?
Well, first of all, tourism development generally depends a lot on the local communities, on the local businesses, on everybody. This is why in Bulgaria we have divided the country into 9 tourism organizations, where each and every organization is focused on developing and marketing, let's say, the driving forces of each tourism development in the region. Each of these tourism organizations consists of municipalities, local NGO and businesses. So they have the platform to sit together and discuss what is best for their region. Of course, all that in light with the National Sustainable Development Strategy till 2030 that we have adopted. As I said, the cultural tourism forms the main part of many of the local communities as a tourism product that is the one to attract the attention towards that region. And I think, and I fully agree with the predecessor speakers and the panel here, that we must have a strategy and a goal, and first of all, having that in mind as a long-term perspective of focus. Because everyone in each and every country has a beautiful cultural and historical legacy, nature. Some countries do have beaches and other winter resorts. Some has both, like Bulgaria, for example. But without a focus and without engaging the local communities and the energy of the local people, it will be very difficult, first of all, to send the message across and to attract more visitors, and second, to offer quality. Because I think the most important thing is once some visitor has come to your country, into our country, is to come back. This is the best value and the best evaluation of the experience of the services that everyone has received here. And this is why we rely very much on the local communities. We discuss, and the business generally, because the tourism in the country is 100% private, we discuss each and every important step towards tourism development in the country with them. And I, as a minister, rely very much on the feedback that we have from that perspective. It's not only the cultural and historical heritage, but a combination with this spa and wellness and balneo that we have in the country, with other kind of tourism products like nature tourism, golf, adventure, wine and gourmet, religious tourism. We have a lot of more than 3,600 churches and monasteries and old temples from the past that we really would like to show to the world, and then all of them are situated in different regions. They are not just in one place, they are not just in the capital. This is why we have elaborated, as I said, cultural and historical routes in the country, and also spa and wellness routes, wine and gourmet, and we will continue like this to have, as I said, the focus. And once we have made more famous, let's say, those cultural and historical monuments, those tourist attractions to the world, then we will continue focusing on others, and like this create sustainability.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Munesan, how important is for your country the role of the Silk Road as an international historic route?
بله، خب اجازه بدید من یه مقدار راجع به کشورم توضیح بدم. خب ایران هم بیش از 1 میلیون سایت تاریخی داره و 23 اثر ثبت جهانی داره. خب یکی از مهمترین بخش‌های
Iran has more than
دیدی وجود داره. بیش از
more than 400 museums, big museums in Iran. We have millions of historical artifacts. They are accommodated in the museums. We have fantastic nature, 4 seasons of tourist activities. We have nice forests in the north part. We have a fantastic seaside. We have a desert. We have all types of nature for all tastes. We offer different attractions. It is nice to inform you that we have places in Iran in which it is snowing, but the temperature is 30 degrees or more. This is in the western part where we have snows. The nature is fantastic in Iran. We have included ecotourism. And the development of ecotourism is one of our major objectives. Also, nature tourism, we are trying to include it. We have many villages. We develop there rural tourism. We want to show to the world the different traditions, the different dishes that are prepared by the local people. We attract tourists to become familiarized with the traditions. They can enter the relevant homes of the local people. They can experience some of their daily traditions. Also, we have medical tourism as well. We have become a quite desired destination. We have many tourists coming for medical treatment to Iran. Many of them, besides being treated, they can take advantage of the time to enjoy traveling to different regions of our country. What has happened recently and is good, is considered to be good, we attract many tourists from all over the world that want to get familiarized with our cultural heritage. We have large exhibitions. I can give you an example. We have a joint exhibition with the Louvre several months ago. Then we had our own exhibition in Paris at the Louvre. We have done the same with the Netherlands, with Armenia. And this is one of the good developments. We exchange artifacts, pieces of art between museums, and we have a lot of those. Also, we have many exhibition halls in our country. We organize nice exhibitions, and the tourists coming to Iran can enjoy both the history of the country, also pay a visit to specific destinations, and get familiarized with the local people, touch upon their daily activities, come to know the dishes. As of now, we have more than 500 new hotels being built. They can accommodate the people coming as tourists to our country. Irrespective of the problems, the sanctions that have been imposed on the country, we have been able to develop tourism. During the last several months, we have attracted many more tourists, which shows that tourism is one of the main link between the different nations. And even though sanctions could be imposed or some political interferences could take place, the tourism helps uniting people, uniting nations. Thank you.
جاده ابریشم بگم که سوال کردید. خب جاده ابریشم میدونید یکی از کشورهایی که در محور جاده ابریشم بوده کشور ایران بوده و الان هم آثار متعددی در مسیر
it has always been a part of the Silk Road. We have had stops, the so-called caravanserai, historical stops. Some of them still exist. Some of them have been destroyed, demolished, but now applying the international standards, we are trying to restore many of them and to turn them into tourist attractions. We meet the tourists there. We have created, we have built hotels around them, and these are one of the main attractions being visited by tourists. They're historically known sites. Crafts are also exhibited in these places. Hospitality is at such a level at these stops or destinations that many foreigners are attracted to come to Iran and to follow the Silk Road. I think that we are reviving in a quite dynamic manner the Silk Road, this part of the Silk Road on the territory of our country.
And what does this imply for historic routes?
English គឺដោយសារតែយើងមានផែនការក្នុងការគ្រប់គ្រងតំបន់បេតិកភណ្ឌរួចរាល់ហើយបញ្ហាសំខាន់គឺទី1ទៅគ្រប់គ្រងតំបន់បេតិកភណ្ឌពិភពលោកឲ្យបានដែលមាននិរន្តរភាពបាទបានយើងតបជាប់
We can develop link from one to others. We can see that in some area in the Angkor archaeological site, the growth of tourist arrival keep increasing yearly. That the renowned site and millions of tourists visited Angkor. The best landmarks through TripAdvisor that every year that we run the best landscape, and we receive over 2 million domestic tourists. This is only the Angkor area, and total for international arrival over almost 6 million, and 2 other area. And then we promote to other destination. After it is enlisted by UNESCO that lifted the national dignity, and soon after the listed, the site received more and more international tourists. We don't have the facility and like a hotel or accommodation like guest houses. No, it's insufficient. That we need to build infrastructures in order to also that we need to also provide services and also regulation, and also that governance frameworks, and so then the linking from the heritage site to other heritage sites. We need to establish to have the heritage network by circuit of the heritage network, and also that the UNWTO or UNESCO that in the world that I think that in Cambodia the trend of cultural tourism is over 50%, and the rest is 25%, and other form of tourism. Cultural heritage tourism is the vital sector for Cambodia. About the management, and from one side to others, and also we need to develop under control and infrastructure and soft infrastructure, the human capital development. So at each side, and also tour guides for tour cultural heritage guides, and also that the community guys also, and they help protect and preserve of the natural and cultural heritage. Like Madam Minister of Bulgaria mentioned, how to attract tourists to the local rural area in order to, and also that capable to receive tourists, and then the income and profit into the hand of the people. So then the people are also capable in providing services to like food and accommodation and others. And the local people are very important. And also that the core of tourism, and also the management of heritage. The most important thing is the involvement and participation from the people. It's the key. Thank you.សូមលោកកបានលើកពីផ្លូវប្រវត្តិសាស្ត្រនេះ development goal នេះគឺថាសម្រាប់ធ្វើយើងត្រូវធ្វើយ៉ាងម៉េចឲ្យមានការវិបុលភាពនិង
to economic growth and address social and environmental needs at the same time. We think that this really is the big challenge and responsibility that the local governments and the stakeholders in tourism have in the cultural destinations as well as the historic routes. On the other hand, we think that it is very important to stimulate the dialogue between visitors and host communities through the cultural destination and historic routes. Because in this moment, we think that it needs to introduce new public policies to keep the harmony between tourists and local communities. The bad call over tourists in this moment is an alarm to keep the different cultural destinations as the ancestors. Also, on the social side, tourism has the potential to foster local culture and traditions through handcrafts, as well cuisine, arts, and folklore, dance, theater, and other forms of cultural expressions. And we are discussing in this conference. The benefit from tourists can help preserve cultural and natural attractions. At this moment, I would like to remark that the Sustainable Development Goals has in the tourist sector a great opportunity to get them, because the tourist sector contributes in direct way in 3 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, but also contribute in indirect way in all of the other 14. So this is very important for us. For the WTO, it's important to call the governments to understand very well our responsibility, but also our opportunity for the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Mr. Dialas? No. Mr. Dialas is here. Okay. Mr. Christidis?
Thank you very much. Well, as I said, I represent an organization which is the Black Sea Economic Cooperation Organization. I would like to announce that very recently the WTO has issued a brochure on tourism in our member states, in the BISEC region. I want the audience to find about it and read. You will see that for the year 2017, we had an increase in tourism inflow to our member states, which is almost double from the average increase in Europe. Almost 20% of tourism in Europe is tourism in the BISEC member states. And I'm very happy and glad that the WTO has made this analysis, and I hope that it can give to this analysis the due publicity so that we know what we're exactly speaking about. And then I would like to make a comment on innovation, which was tackled also by Mr. Zalas. In the last meeting of our working group on tourism, we have decided upon the proposal of the Secretariat to establish a BISEC award for upstart companies that will introduce the most promising innovation in tourism. So as we have here some of the ministers of our member states or secretary generals, I would like to ask Minister Angelkova, the Secretary General, Mr. Zalas, and others to support this this tradition that we want to establish, because it will be a prize given to a start-up company in any of our member states that will come up with the most promising innovation promoting tourism. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to announce these two issues.
Thank you. You want to answer to Mr. Christidis?
Yes, Mr. Christidis knows that we support each and every initiative of the organization, and Bulgaria till June this year was chairperson of the working group on tourism in BISEC, and now Turkey has taken the presidency of this working group, and I think there are a lot of initiatives that we can promote, not only startups, but also others like cruise tourism, gourmet tourism in the Black Sea region that we were discussing, and we had a working group bilateral between Bulgaria and Turkey yesterday on tourism, and we exactly underlined the importance of the BISEC organization and the presidency that Turkey now is ongoing on the working group to continue what here we have started, and we rely, as Mr. Christidis said, to all other members of the organization to be able to continue developing that efforts. On the other side, I take part from the words of the opening session of my dear colleague, the former Minister of Culture, Mr. Rashidov, and now chairperson of the Inter-Parliamentary Committee on Culture and Media, that it is very important to focus and continue that initiative we started with him, with Greece and Turkey and Bulgaria, promoting the cultural roots and being part of the global scene of the world civilizations here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Arisoy.
Tercüme hazır mı arkadaşlar? Sayın Bakan, önce bu konuda eklemek istiyorum.
Two things about what was said by Mrs. Angelkova. Yesterday, we had this meeting of the joint Bulgarian-Turkish committee, and we discussed some of the aspects of today's conference. One of them is that in the first half of next year, as the Secretary General already mentioned, concerns cruise tourism in the Black Sea region. Together with the World Tourism Organization and its support, we prepare a conference on that topic in Turkey. On the 4th and 5th of December in Istanbul with UNESCO and UNWTO, there will be a meeting of ministers, and all present here are invited to attend. Thank you.
Mr. Dialas, what is your tourism priorities?
I hope I'm not. They will not accuse you, Sofia, because you gave me you addressed me because we are Greeks, and maybe they will say that it's a kind of conspiracy here, but it's not.
People
Okay.
doesn't know that.
The strategy is very well related. It's very well related to all the esteemed guests in the panel said. One of the priorities was to extend the season and open the markets and the products and what I said before. But it's also to create new thematic products. It means the development of thematic tourism, special interest tourism, alternative tourism, you can call it as you may call it, and to different tourist products in destinations that are not as popular as the popular ones in Greece, like the islands or Chalkidiki and Crete. So we are focused, and this is an effort that we have done the last couple of years, and actually at the end of the month there's a new law in the parliament that's going to be voted in our parliament on the development of thematic forms of tourism. Thematic forms of tourism means that you create thematic products based on the comparative advantages, and you know, and most of the people know that in Greece we have plenty of them, besides the climate and the weather and the nice hospitality and people. We have culture, we have gastronomy, we have sea sports, we have spas, we have winter tourism, we have plenty of things. So, and the culture, it may comes to mind that it's a culture that promotes tourism or tourism that enhances and promotes culture. It's like the question of who made the egg, the chicken made the egg or the egg made the chicken. But it's not this way, because tourism is culture. It's not only history and the monuments and the museums and the infrastructure, but it's exactly what Haitam said before, that it's people. It's the local customs, the local villages. It's a religion that creates local fiestas and festivities in local villages. It's different, you know, in Greece and in many other countries all over the world. When you have some kind of exhibitions, local exhibitions and fiestas, you have like small local festivals, and there it's you bring tourists so as to be part of it, so as to be part of the culture, and culture brings more and more advantages to what we call it tourism development, we call it thematic tourism. It's something that brings people together and creates different products that you can promote through the new technology, of course, and through, of course, collaboration and cooperation with other nations that they share the same thing, the same thoughts. And it's quite, for me, it was quite a pleasure and honor to be with so many different people from different nations and cultures. And actually, I was very much impressed by the fact that the minister from Afghanistan said that she's the first woman. It is quite, you know, tourism can even unite and promote different kind of social, let's say, difficulties, difficult problems in countries that has not been so. So tourism unites everybody. It's over politics. It's tourism, and this is with UNWTOs with Talib Rifai and Zura Politikashvili and the rest of the people, everybody, that we bring people together, and with these people we connect people, we respect people, and we go on.
Thank you very much. We have other questions?
I have a question. Thank you. My name is Kai Marcus. I'm from Germany, and I'm one of the tourists. They searching for the experience, as you told. and I want to underline 3 topics from my experience running the whole Silk Road. First, as tourists, we need more accessibility between the countries. When we travel, we be not only in one country, we cross the borders, we go to other countries, and we want to prepare in one country for the next. Sometimes we get the feeling, no, not get information from the other country, maybe you stay not long enough here. But this is a kind of suffer for us. Second, what you just say. My project name is Run to Break Down Prejudice. The world is full of prejudice. The only chance to break down this prejudice for your countries is give these adventurers a chance to achieve your country, to experience your country, the reality, not the tourist places, the real culture, the real society. Yesterday I was arriving in Bulgaria in Sofia, and the first what I did is 5 kilometers running in the city center. And I posted, and all my friends in Germany say, hey, this is not what we expect in Sofia, this is not what we expect in Bulgaria. So encourage these extraordinary adventurers to do more of that because they share it and they tell the real stories. And the third is what you say from the social media apps and from the technology cannot substitute the experience, but we need this technology to share it. The countries should be prepared for that, to give us a chance to share it, because if I'm on a really nice place and I have no internet connection today, 2 days later, I will not post it. 2 days later, I will not talk about it. 2 days later, I only have it in my memory, but not every tourist make a video show at home for all his friends. So this is very important for us to get this experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Aparna. I come from India. Now, to all the panel members, I'd like to know, as you talk about developments in Bulgaria and other places along the Silk Route, what is the priority or how easy it is to make all these operations friendly to the environment also? What are the, thoughts around that? Pardon?
Who want to answer that?
Anybody who's having an answer.
That's a very good question. I think, the word mass tourism probably resonates with the question. And we know a number of countries namely Iceland, have really suffered with mass tourism, that when you open up your country to visitors, and if we don't, one, educate the visitors, B, educate the tourists, obviously the environment will suffer. I think some of us who were in London would have seen the First Lady of Palau and the amazing video that she played about the Pledge of Palau. This is probably one of the best takeaways I took from that conference. The Pledge of Palau is where you, when you receive a visa to go to the small island of Palau, and it's 20,000 people who live in Palau, but I think they receive about 500,000 visitors or so. And it was really clear that 20,000 people could not police 500,000 visitors. So they made this idea about making people to sign a pledge to protect the environment, to make sure they don't litter, and to make sure that they don't abuse the nature and whatever historical sites they have. And I think this is a great best practice that any destination can adopt to make sure that we have tourists protecting the environment and protecting the nature of every city and country they visit. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think...
Yes. I would like to add that that you said if we think 40 years ago, this was not our priority because the massive tourism didn't exist, as said my colleague. But now, this is a reality, so is why the UNWTO, we say that it's very important to introduce new public policies in local destinations to balance the massive tourism and to balance the convivence between the local communities with visitors. But the authorities have to take conscience that this is very important, and this is what we are going to promote in the next years in order to combat against this reality.
Ma'am, can I add on?
Ms. Angelkova wants to answer you.
Yes, just to add and to agree with Jaime that the balance is what is important because, for example, here in Bulgaria we have a lot of tourist concentrations in the national resorts along the Black Sea coast and the winter resorts. And our main target as a government, and in particular mine as a minister, is really to attract all those visitors within the countryside, in the other regions and cities in the country which are unknown and which are well deserved to be discovered. This is why the strategy of involving the local communities, the local business, the local people, because they know what they can offer and they know how they can attract visitors to them and to have, let's say, the balance across the territory. This is really very important because, as I said, tourism is one of the most important economic pillars, at least in our economy. And also, just to jump to the comment of the German guest that was commented just before, I fully agree also with him that the accessibility to the country is crucial. This is why in all the different formats, ministerial or other conferences, congresses, we are discussing, first of all, accessibility in terms of pure transport, and second of all, to create an objective to access the country. From tourism perspective, the common destination, common routes, this is why I think the platform based on the Silk Road is important, and also what we were discussing on the common Balkan routes as well. And I agree with you, I'm sorry, and this is why we also, part of our digital strategy and marketing is really relying on the bloggers, the travelers that are visiting each and every unknown place and try to really present it to the public. Thank you.
I'm happy that technology is also being discussed. So I wish that all of us also focus on facilities that travelers look at. Now that I'm traveling from India, I need a place to stay. I need a restaurant to have my food from. Why don't we make this all environment friendly also? Why don't we encourage solar panels for energy sources and things like that? I wish we all focus on such things also for a better tomorrow.
Thank you very much. So, someone else? No. Okay. Okay. As the high-level panel has completed, I would like to thank all the participants for the discussion. I think that it was a very interesting journey for all of us. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and I am pleased that I met you all.
Thank you, Sofia. Please, all the participants, can you stay on stage for a group photo? Only for you. But you can stand up, of course.